2015, DC Comics released a book that was commemorating the 75th anniversary of the modern-day superhero sidekick, or at least the first sidekick, which of course I'm talking about my boy, Robin.
I'm in love with a hero. I'm in love with the one who will...
Hello comic book people of the world, let's talk about the book Robin, the Boy Wonder, a celebration of 75 years. Robin is by far one of the most famous comic book superheroes of all time. Even the most novice of comic book readers knows who he is. Whether or not they know which version of Robin, that's another story altogether. And yes, he did start off as a sidekick, but he's moved on and evolved so much far beyond that. This book commemorates his 75th anniversary, and it also touches upon some of the more famous people who's held the mantle of being Robin. The first and most famous of those Robins is Dick Grayson. This reprints his origin, which I've already read a couple times in the past, but if anyone who's never read it before, it is a nice refresher for you. We also get a couple miscellaneous adventures that he's gone on, including an adventure that happened to do with Roberta, the Girl Wonder. It's more of a humorous story, but still, I didn't even know that she existed until I read this. It just goes to show how little I know about the golden and silver age of comic books. I do love the progression of stories being reprinted in this book. We get to see Dick Grayson go from more of a naive kid to where he's much more of a heroic superhero in his own right. This book also includes the first part to his Nightwing Year One storyline, where he moves from Robin into his alter ego of becoming Nightwing. Moving past that, we go into the next Robin, which happens to be Jason Todd. And this is the post-crisis Jason Todd, where he was characterized to be the most hated Robin, at least at the time. And I say that because it was fan-voted for him to be killed off. It was a very small margin of call-in votes, but still, he did lose. And it did stick for a very long period of time until Superboy Prime punched his way through reality, which I'm not even going to go into that. But still, Jason was known as the Robin that was killed off. And then enter Tim Drake, by far the best Robin. I know that's my own personal opinion, but still, I stick by it. Tim's origin story is awesome, and the book also includes several solo adventures that he went on. And I love the stories where he's creating dynamic relationships with other superheroes. He forms a bond with Dick Grayson, who becomes more like a brotherly figure to him. And his bestest buddy, who he forms a very romantic relationship with, Connor Kent, also known as Superboy, is included in this book as well. Afterwards, the book moves on to Damian Wayne, who happens to be the son of Batman. And we get a couple of his stories included as well. But something else that I'm very appreciative that this book included was some of the other miscellaneous Robins that many people forget about. Carrie Kelly was the Robin that was introduced for the Dark Knight Returns story, so her introduction is put in here, as is the robotic Robin from Robin 1 Million. DC really loves to go all over the place with their timelines and future stories and past stories. There's a couple other Robins that are also mentioned, but my favorite miscellaneous Robin was Stephanie Brown, also known as Spoiler, also known as Tim Drake's girlfriend. She's often neglected or completely forgotten about, but she was a Robin at one point, even though the New 52 universe has erased her entire stint, but still there were stories that took place before that, and she was a Robin, and she was pretty cool at it. This is not the first 75th anniversary book that's been done by DC Comics. They've done it before in a couple other characters too, but this is the first time I've actually invested in one. I only got the digital copy of this book on Comixology, but I may invest in a hardcover version of it because I have such a soft spot for Robin. For the vast collection of stories that's included in this book, I think the price is fairly good. You could get it on Amazon as well, but that's just my own personal opinion on this book. I just want to let everyone out there know that it does exist, and you do now if you watch this video. So thank you guys for watching me up to this point. If you haven't done it yet, check out my Patreon site, check out my social media sites, my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Always win. He's a prominent figure.
One of the questions that I'm asked more than anything else is, who is my favorite superhero? My answer is always the same thing: Tim Drake, Robin. I'm always given that perplexed reply saying, you mean he's your favorite sidekick? And I'm like, no, he's my favorite superhero. He held his own comic book series for years. He's a master detective, he's a great fighter, and all around he's very intelligent. In fact, he may be on par with Bruce Wayne with his intelligence. So I really think that he is one of the coolest superheroes, comic book superheroes, that has ever been